Hello, everyone, and welcome to this interview today with Anita Das. Anita, it is so wonderful to have you here. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much for inviting me today to speak and to raise awareness of this important topic.
Wonderful, wonderful. So share with us a little bit about you, and then what it is that we're going to talk about.
Sure. So I'm a holistic therapist, practitioner, and teacher. So I practice various different modalities from sound healing to energy healing. And I also provide readings. I'm also a psychic and a medium and a channel. I teach a number of different practitioner courses in various modalities, such as sound healing with the voice, with the drum, and other practitioner workshops for spiritual development as well. So for today, I was going to just cover a few of the terms that you may see around complementary and alternative medicine. I'm going to refer to some research that's relevant in this area. And then also just touch upon some of the modalities where there has been kind of evidence of basically reference to case studies and further reading as well. And then I'm going to end with some practical tools that you can incorporate in day-to-day life that would be useful to manage kind of symptoms from cancer and from the treatment itself. So whatever stage that you're in, whether you've just been diagnosed or if you're already undergoing treatment or if you're in full or partial remission. So I'm hoping it'll be useful. So that's a very high-level summary.
Let's get started.
Okay, so just very briefly, I just wanted to touch upon some terms. So it's basically there are a large number of different complementary and alternative medicine approaches available. So when we say complementary therapy, all that means is that it's a therapy that's taken alongside conventional medicine. So you would keep taking your medications prescribed by your doctor, and then in addition to that, you would be taking this complementary therapy. So you would always let your GP or your medical profession know that you're taking this complementary therapy. And it's really to help you cope better with any symptoms from the cancer and also with the treatment, and it can improve the quality of your life. The next one is alternative medicine. So this is used instead of the conventional medicine, and it can be used as a preventative measure. So it can cover a wide range of therapies from body-based, such as massage, acupuncture, reflexology, or mind-body, such as meditation, hypnotherapy. In the US, the National Centre for CAM has 5 distinct categories. You may also sometimes hear the term integrated healthcare or medicine. That's when you're using both conventional medicine as well as complementary therapies. So often with cancer care, the integrated medicine will include access to conventional medicine, complementary therapies, counselling, support groups, and also just general information about cancer and the treatment. So I just wanted to touch upon some few alternative approaches where there's been research. So there was an article and survey by Science Direct on the use of CAM in cancer patients, and that stated that approximately 70% of cancer patients use some form of CAM, and this is from across 58 different therapies. So this includes alternative medical systems. So this can be things like homeopathy, Chinese herbal medicine, or acupuncture, Ayurveda, naturopathy. So it's quite broad, but also kind of biological therapies, such as looking at taking herbs or looking at diet, supplements and vitamins. The next is really mind-body interventions. So this can include hypnotherapy, meditation, healing, relaxation, and then finally energy therapies like qigong or reiki. Also body-based therapies such as massage, osteopathy, and reflexology. So I guess what I'm trying to say is there's a huge ocean of different therapies out there. So about 51% of patients in this survey, they were using CAM to increase their body's ability just to fight this disease and to decrease the tumour and to improve their overall physical, mental, emotional well-being. and to counteract any effects from the treatment, and just really to try to do everything possible that they can to, you know, to get healthy. So I wanted to explore. I wanted to start off with sound healing because there has been some research in this area. Would you like me to just kind of continue, or do you have some questions?
No, so far so good.
Okay, so so looking at sound healing first of all, so this is based on the principle that everything is energy, vibration, frequency, and sound healing has been used since ancient times in civilizations back to Egypt, Greece, India, and in indigenous cultures. So you know it's been used right from the beginning. So what is sound healing? So it's basically Simon Heather, founder of College of Sound Healing, he defines it as a therapeutic application of sound frequencies to the mind, body, soul of a person with the intention of bringing them back to harmony and health. So what does that mean? It basically means you're immersing yourself in kind of soothing tones, and this is releasing any energetic blockages, stress, tension, anxiety, and you're going into a very deep state of relaxation, which is when the healing occurs. So, and how does it work? So it works on the basis that every human, every object in this universe has its own vibratory rate and resonance frequency. So everything is vibrating at a certain frequency, including our organs, cells, etc., tissues. So we have a unique energetic signature or sonic frequency, I guess. And as you know, the human body is made up of about 70% of water, which is a very good conductor of sound. So you'll be able to feel this, you know, when you walk into a room. Sometimes you're magnetically drawn to a person, or they've got a good vibe that you're just sensing into that vibration. And so when our body is out of balance, we can use sound to retune it, a bit like retuning an instrument. And so when the harmonious sounds are used, basically the body locks into the healing sounds, into the more powerful frequency. So every cell, organ, body has a frequency which is at optimal health when our systems are balanced. But when we're unwell, the resonance in our body is what's called discordant, and that's when we feel, we sometimes hear people say feeling out of sync, out of tune, or just off key, and that's essentially, you know, what's happening there. So basically, if a tumor is basically a cluster of unhealthy cells, and so if we input the vibration of a healthy cell, because it has a stronger kind of resonance and rhythm, the unhealthy cells will naturally go towards that, and that more powerful frequency that will cause that cluster to actually shrink. So it's being sound healing has been used in the hospitals at the moment. High intensity focused ultrasound uses high frequency sound to attack cancer cells. So it can be used either for a single tumor or a small portion of a tumor, and it's been used to treat prostate cancer. So that's high intensity focused ultrasound. So that's currently available. There's been a lot of research in this area by Fabien Mamar in his book, The Role of Music in the 21st Century. He explores how sound can destroy cancer cells. So he found that the cancer cells actually become unstable, and they actually disintegrate when all the notes of a musical scale are played. And he did a lot of research in this area. He also did research with Helen Grimal, who's a senior researcher at the National Centre for Scientific Research on the effect of sound on cancer cells. So they took photographs of the inside structure of the cells and the effect of different sounds on that cell structure. And they also used what's called Kirlian photography, looking at the aura of the kind of electromagnetic fields of those cells, and they looked at the change. So what they found was, as the sounds went up the scale, they would see basically an explosion of those cancer cells at a particular frequency as the sound went out to the outer membrane. And they used drums, gongs, flutes, guitars, bass, xylophones, so different, and voice. And they were looking at both malignant and normal cancer cells. So they had a lot of conclusions from that. I would just highlight a few of them because obviously it's a lot of research, but basically they found that the voice and the musical scale, when used together, caused the cancer cells to explode more rapidly. And particularly they found it was on the 7th interval of the musical scale is when there was an explosion of the cells. So in addition, a couple of other things, they looked at particular notes as well. So they found any sound frequencies of A at 440 hertz and B at 493 hertz caused the cancer to break down when exposed to the sound frequency for about 20 minutes, 21 minutes or so. So, there was so much evidence there of different research. They had volunteers come. There were volunteers who had breast cancer, and they toned the whole musical scale using, I think it was a violin and a bass note for 21 minutes. They did this for 3.5 hours a day, just toning every day for a month. And in one case, one lady's tumor completely disappeared. And another woman, she had already agreed to surgery, and the tumor had significantly been reduced. So, so just kind of in summary, that's kind of showing the significance of sound. I mean, he did some further research there around the power of the voice, of our own unique voice when toning to our own blood cells. That has a significant impact. And as I mentioned, the 7th interval and particular notes like the A sharp and B did produce, and particularly when metal instruments were used, he noticed a reduction in the cancer cells. So at a very high level, that's basically how research in how sound can be used to destroy cancer cells and retune our bodies.
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
The first one that came to my mind is, like you said, they were using different instruments, but is it really not so much about the instrument that you use, but actually about the frequency that you reach that will help to shrink the tumor, or is there an importance to what instrument is being used?
So he found that a combination of the voice and the particular, he found that metal instruments in particular were good. So it was a combination of the two together. But I think just using one or the other is going to have an effect, just sound in general. But just staying on sound for a moment, there was another cancer expert, Barry Bittman, and he led a medical research study, and this showed that group drumming actually also increased the cells that destroyed the cancer and also boosted the immune system. So so again, it's all about the frequency, and that's so it's drumming, the voice, it can be particular instruments, but it's again, it's all about the frequency that's coming towards the cells. So yeah.
So the other question is, when we talk about the explosion of the cells, or the reduction in size and stuff, so we're saying that the tumors are changing, but the cancer itself, is that impacted as well, or is that separate?
So it's all related. So the whole human body is interlinked. So if something's happening in one part of the body, it's affecting the other part of the body. So this would have an impact on both the tumor and and the cancer as well. Mm-hmm. So it may, I mean, their experiments were based on a particular time period that the cells were exposed to sound, and also the distance the sound was from the person, and then different notes, etc., different instruments. So it's very, very much looking at kind of controlled experiments, looking at what had the most effect. But I teach sound healing with the voice practitioner course, and in that we do have one protocol where we really work with the musical scale and intervals. So we can't underestimate the impact that sound has. And generally day-to-day life, we notice when we listen to something uplifting, we're having a bad day, it just automatically switches us into a better mood. So it's all about how we're feeling, and the impact those frequencies are having on our bodies. It's basically the stronger, the more powerful frequencies, what's called in training, the other with more dissonant frequencies back into optimum health.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think it really is fascinating, and I mean, other people in the summit have spoken about some healing with sound and an instrument and stuff, and it is fascinating. I think especially that earlier today I was listening to an audiobook about how to starve your cancer by Jane McSomeone, and she was stage 4 cancer, and she's completely survived, thriving, and all of that, and she's telling us in the story, as she's telling the story, how she's reminding us how people tend to still just go with what the oncologist is saying, and just trust that white coat syndrome and whatever people are saying, even though there's so much, like you say, so much evidence that actually alternative methods are working, or complementary one, right? We're not saying we're not telling people what to do. We're just saying, hey, just open mind, and people are so scared of opening their minds, and so I love that you're bringing all of this already, because all we are really asking people to do is to connect with what feels right, and then make decisions, and we can't tell people what to do or who to see or who not to see, but there's so much evidence that these methods work, and I don't know, it's just this invitation to keep an open mind and question everything.
That's a really good point, because it's also dependent on people's belief system. So if there's resistance there, or belief that this won't work, that may kind of manifest. But if people are open to what this will bring, then it's more likely to, I guess, to have an impact, because you're kind of lowering any resistance levels towards it.
Yeah. So let's continue.
So I'll just touch upon energy healing. So again, it's very similar to sound healing. It's based on the fact that everything kind of is energy, including our thoughts and our feelings. So basically, energy healing is used really on the basis that our life force energy is flowing through us, and if there's any blockages in there, then that's causing kind of disease or ill health. So in Chinese, they call it qi, in the Indian system it's prana, and in Japan it's ki. So it comes by different names, but it's effectively our vitality or life force energy. So there's different systems out there. So reiki is also used in some hospitals as well. So that's basically to restore and rebalance the body's energy flow. It's very gentle, and it can just realign and balance the system. It may be used for symptoms, help with side effects of cancer, like relief of pain, stress, anxiety, fatigue, that type of thing. It can also be used at end of life or palliative care as well. So, and it's quite common in hospitals and hospices as well. So it just basically, it's bringing you into alignment, into a state of flow, harmony, and balance. And there have been studies from American research which looked at how cancer patients use complementary therapies. So they found about 26% of women with breast cancer, they used mind and body therapies, which included energy healing. And they found that with using these complementary therapies such as Reiki, they had less side effects. They felt a bit more energized. They had high energy. They felt a bit more relaxed, and they could engage in activities that they had given up, but they found that they could take to. So it was basically improving the overall kind of quality of life that they were living. And then just related to so energy healing, there's myriad of modalities. So that's Reiki, which is quite kind of commonly known. Another one is shamanic healing, which is a type of energy medicine. again, has been practiced in indigenous cultures around the world, and it's based on the premise that everything is interconnected, that our life force, it's alive. But if a person has some kind of loss of power loss or soul loss, shamans refer to it as a potentially spiritual intrusion that can come in and can cause physical pain or illness. And there is some school of thought that the cancer is related to a particular type of plant spirit that comes in as an intrusion. So what the shaman would do they would do like a retrieval and an extraction of whatever was needed, but they would look at they would basically be shown different types of animal. It would display itself in a different way, like an animal. So when the cancer was first discovered, it was given the name cancer because under the microscope it looked like a crab, and it looked like a crab that was spreading. So it's treating it in a different way. They're looking at it more from a spiritual level of when it first entered the energy system. And then the last one is chakra healing. So again, this is our chakras. They have their own vibrational frequency. They're associated with a particular color, an organ, and they have a function, etc. So again, it's the essence of energy healing is just to remove any energetic blockages and just bring you in a state of alignment and balance. So it's doing the same thing. So that's really kind of energy healing at a very high level. And then I just wanted to touch upon qigong. So this is a type of an ancient Chinese moving mindfulness practice, and it's based on very gentle physical and energetic exercises, and it works through kind of strengthening your qi or your life force. So qi is the life force and gong is kind of to work with that energy. So it can open up, it can massage your internal organs, it can clear any blockages, open up your energy channels. And it's also really useful as an energizing practice or preparation for meditation. And it's very, very gentle and easy to follow. And there has been research which has shown that it has improved the overall quality of life, and fatigue related to cancer and cognitive impairment improved by practicing qigong. And it's considered quite a safe kind of mind-body intervention for cancer patients. Another one just related to mind-body is hypnotherapy. So hypnotherapists basically guide you into a deeply relaxed state. They can work on changing behavior or stopping any undesired habits. So cancer patients, they may use hypnotherapy to help them relax, to help them cope with symptoms and treatments, and also for pain management. It can help with any anxiety, stress, or depression. And hypnosis is a form of other therapy. So regression or psychotherapy also uses hypnosis. So there's a lady called Dolores Cannon. You may have heard of her. She's spiritual, she's written a lot of books. In one of her books, I think it's The 3 Waves of Volunteers in the New Earth, she talks about a case where she had a client with leukemia, and she uses her own modality, which is quantum healing hypnosis technique, and that basically communicates with the subconscious. So it's kind of viewing that every disease, every illness that you have is a way of your body talking to you and saying, there's something not quite right. But if you're powerful enough to kind of the body basically naturally wants to thrive and heal itself. So if we've found ourselves in a state where we're kind of at dis-ease or disease, then we can bring ourselves back to natural healing through our own kind of self-healing, but obviously can be with guidance. So this was another kind of evidence where she had used that technique on cancer patients. But in addition to hypnotherapy, you have progressive muscle relaxation, visualization, guided imagery, breathing techniques. It can all help to relieve stress and help cancer patients cope with the symptoms. It can also just lift up their mood and help them feel, a bit more balanced. And it's the same with meditation. So meditation, again, is used for the same reasons, to reduce anxiety, stress, the fatigue that can come, high blood pressure, Again, pain relief, just helping with sleeping at night, and just greater self-awareness. So, and again, meditation, that can be focusing on a single point, such as a candle or the breath, or it can be, the moving meditation. But it's basically just focusing your mind on the present moment. So those are, in a nutshell, all the different modalities. And the last part, I wanted to just touch upon some practical tools, but I'll just pause and see if there's any kind of questions you had.
Yeah, one question is about I mean, first of all, thank you for shedding light on all of this, because you're right. People hear this modality, these different terminologies and modalities, and maybe not necessarily understand what they mean or what they're used for. So really, thank you for that. And then I was wondering, will you use different modalities in a different way depending on the type of cancer or where it is originating from?
Yeah, so I have treated cancer patients, some in full or partial remission, different stages. So it's just being aware that when someone is taking a lot of medication, then you have to be kind of very aware of the level of healing and what they're able to process. So there are certain contraindicators in different modalities. So as I said before, you would need to see quite an experienced practitioner, who had dealt experience in treating or practicing with cancer patients. So I would basically, a lot of time, I basically practice based on my intuition. So in some instances, I would perform like a shamanic healing where I could see how the cancer was displaying itself in the person's body, whether it was a particular, how it showed itself to me. Other times it can be more around the symptoms, first of all, because sometimes we're working in layers. So it's as much as that person can cope with. So when we're moving layer by layer, so it can be a longer course of treatment. It just really depends on each person. But then if it's more gentle, I might use reiki, or, some form of energy healing. And then also, obviously, there's sound healing as well. So I would most likely stick to kind of one of those types of healing, but it's really dependent on the person coming to me. So I would tune into the energy and what was needed for them that they could manage, and not really affect them day to day, that they could process in a healthy way for them.
And so in your, you will use your intuition to decide which of these modalities to use, or do people say to you, what is their intuition when they come to look at all of the modalities that you're offering?
So I do ask people to have a look at the different modalities and see which one they're drawn to or which one they're called to, and then I check in and see, if that's right for them too. And then so I guess it's something that we're both agreeing. So first of all, I would ask them to see what they're drawn to, and then I would just kind of have a check in and to see if it's appropriate and not for their not putting their system into overwhelm.
Mm-hmm. Sounds amazing. Okay, great. And so what is the next part?
Yeah, so just some practical tools, really. I just wanted to say, there are self-help things we can do, such as one of the big ones is self-care. So just taking time to do something that you enjoy for yourself. This could be a creative activity like painting, cooking, drawing, listening to music, maybe humming or singing, what you're able to do physically. Spending time with loved ones, maybe meditation if you have a child or a pet. So just anything that lifts or boosts your mood, that you're able to do. It's not going to have too much effect on you. And then obviously diet is a big one, staying hydrated, having restorative sleep, awareness of your breath, I think is useful, and just taking regular breaks. So if you feel yourself kind of being aware of how you're feeling, and then if you're feeling any kind of unease, just to take a break from where you are. This can mean connecting, walking in nature if you're possible, even looking out of the window at nature if you're not able to go out, having plants near you. Grounding is really a way of kind of connecting our body as energy to the earth's energy. So that's really important, because our body's like an electrical circuit. When we're grounded, our energy flows through the body into the earth, and the earth energy flows back into the body. So we feel more within ourselves, we feel healthier. So, and if you've got, like I said, if you can't go outside, you can just do a meditation, or you can have a plant nearby. And then what else? I would say connecting with others and community is really important. So, there are a lot of support groups. So speaking to people, who maybe, if you're not sure, you could speak to someone who's already tried this particular complementary therapy, someone who's already tried sound healing alongside their, medication, and have a chat with them, or just to get different ideas, but to have people that you can that are supportive, and that you feel that you're not alone. I think that's really important. And then just coming into a sense of mindfulness, to the present moment. So this could be mindfulness, meditation, just helps you become more aware of how you're feeling, emotions, how your sensations in your body, your environment, and just to kind of improving that awareness. So it can be on different levels. So the emotional level will be connection with friends and family. Also, things you can do is maybe journal how you're feeling. So you can kind of write about, at the end of the day, this is what happened, this is how I'm feeling. It just helps you process emotions. You can have what's called a gratitude journal. So just write down anything that you feel that's positive about your life, or that anything that you're grateful for. Affirmations are another way. And then music, we've spoken about sound already. So it's basically to do with relaxation. So this can help in so many ways. And then also laughter really raises our vibration. Watching a comedy, laughing with friends. There was one woman who received her cancer diagnosis, and then she actually watched comedies every day and was just laughing, and she actually recovered. But each case is different, right? So we're not saying that this will work, but we're saying that that's just an example of where it did work for somebody. So these are different methods, and as we know, laughter is changing the vibration, the frequency of our cells. So it does have an impact.
What I noticed as I've been interviewing people for the summit is how easy it is to kind of move between the mindset or the belief that cancer is physical, versus going into the understanding that it's energetic, or it's spiritual, or all of these different things. And it's interesting that yes, cancer is, of course, is a physical thing, but when we allow ourselves to connect really with us as energetic beings, and seeing that there's so many different things that could have contributed to the cancer, manifesting in our bodies at the moment, and really, again, I guess it's the word of open mind, because we don't know which of the methods is going to really make the biggest difference, but we do know that when we reduce stress, for example, that is going to be one hell of an important difference to make. Of course, like you said, the diet is super important, but I think when you allow yourself to be curious, and to not get too bogged down with is it working, and can I see an immediate change, but actually taking it as a period of you coming back to yourself, and trying different things, and exploring different things, exploring different modalities, different practitioners. You will feel the benefit. They're so, like you say, research-based benefits that all of these things really help. And I love that you brought this kind of really high-level explanation of all of these different modalities, and I'm totally impressed that you are doing all of them, most of them, that you offer them to your clients, because it's it's so allowing, really, to to connect with your energy and to see that actually, you are, you have the, you contain that. You are guiding them. They're not getting lost when they come to you, and you're offering all of these different modalities and healing methods.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because we can get focused on the fact that it's, affecting our physical body, but actually we're made up of an energy system with different they're called kind of subtle bodies. So first of all, it will come through the spiritual body into the mental body, which is more to do with our thoughts, our belief systems, and then the emotional body, how we sense and feel, then our etheric, and then our physical body. So it's actually coming through those layers, which is, I was saying before that the shamans work on the spiritual level, because that's when it first comes in. So it can be a multitude of reasons of why the cancer initially came. It can be through trauma, through suppressed emotions, a multitude of different reasons. And again, it's different for every person. But I think one thing I would say is that what it can show is sometimes it can lead to greater self-reflection of, you're in this position, but what is it showing me? Why is this coming up for me? What is the lesson in this, or the opportunity for growth? On a spiritual level from being in this. Sometimes you get some people that go through the process, they recover, and they become an advocate to other people of particular kind of therapy they use, that it is possible to come through this and out the other side, and they've had some kind of learnings and opportunity to share what they've learned with others. So I think the important thing is that if you're going through this at whatever stage you're in, it's just to recognize that you're not alone. There is support groups available, but also, this is happening for a reason. Your body is communicating to you that that there needs that something maybe there needs to be kind of like a shift to somewhere in the energy, in the perspective, in the belief, and this may have been through years and years of particular things happening, that it's culminated in this. So it's a good opportunity to reflect and potentially to reset, maybe make lifestyle changes, and to just kind of really think, why is this showing up for you? What is the impact it's having? And how can you kind of move forward from it? Because there is kind of hope out there with all these, and now a lot of these are already being used. Like I know the ultrasound is already being used in hospitals. So science is more open to these different approaches. And again, there's not really anything to lose here, because you're with the complementary therapy, it's being used alongside your medication, as long as you make your doctor aware that you're trying these other approaches. And at first it can just be a case of just being more relaxed and more comfortable, or reaching a level of acceptance as to where you are now and how to move forward. So it doesn't have to be overnight, it can be in stages. So it's about being kind of gentle with yourself and making sure that you have kind of support around you.
One question that comes to my mind is really, I guess, I've heard somewhere in all of my work with the summit and so on, people saying that if cancer returns, it's maybe more challenging to get rid of. Now, of course, I don't want to put it in anyone's psyche out there. I'm not saying that this is a true thing, but I'm wondering, with all of the methods that you were using and all the modalities and stuff, would you do things differently in that case when cancer is returning, for example?
Yeah, I've had a case with a client where she came to see me after she'd actually been in remission, but then it reappeared. But there had been an issue kind of with to keep it kind of high level, the surgeons hadn't done what she'd asked them to do. She'd asked them to take something out and they hadn't done it, and that had caused problems later. So obviously, she'd had taken that up with her medical team, but the fact is she was where she was at that point in time, where she'd had to go on further surgery. So it's about, sometimes these things happen for a reason. She'd asked for something and it hadn't happened, but it now led to the situation she's in. But she was actually really positive. It's about it's easy to spiral down into those kind of negative emotions, but it's really kind of, I think, what can help is seeing it from a higher perspective, or kind of coming out from kind of the detail and thinking of this more holistically, that this is where I am now. It may have returned partially, or to what extent it's returned, but this is what the potential options, choices, or solutions are. And what is this showing me now? Why has this come back? So it's kind of connecting to your inner self and asking these questions, and just taking it from there.
This is the things that I talk about in my work with people, because it really is, are you allowing yourself to go back into fear-based?
Yes.
And a lot of the time, people, if the cancer is returning, they will go into this extra fear. So it was really scary at the beginning, and then they managed to get into remission, and the cancer is gone, and now it's come back. And a lot of the time I see it, I mean, it really is like rabbit in headlights, and I think it's sometimes even stronger fear than before. And now the conversation begins about really how to trust, because the fear is actually, of course, not that it's going, not that what I'm saying is helpful, but fear is not helpful in this case. And it makes us go into that, the end result. Where is it actually heading?
Yeah.
And it is important to have this conversation that, it's not really about dying, because we all have to go through this at some point, but it is really, like you say, about understanding something else. So what is it that maybe I overlooked? Maybe there is an opportunity for me to do something that I haven't seen yet, or haven't learned yet. And kind of taking it to the next level, really, not again going back into the physical and the fear and the, oh my God, what am I doing here? But actually, again, reintroducing this openness and curiosity and exploration, maybe even more than before.
Yeah, so there's two things I'd say there. One is, I think as a society, we're conditioned to think of the worst possible outcome straight away on a human level. It's like the fear, but we all have inherent power. Where we can choose how we respond to certain situations, and it's not easy, but we can practice that, just pausing, and then just choosing how we respond in what level, whether, rather than fear, can it be a form of kind of maybe acceptance, and then moving upwards, just whatever feels comfortable for you, just the next level up. Because once our bodies naturally want to thrive, if we have the power to find, we can create our reality through our thoughts, our emotions, our belief systems. So if we can focus on that, we can change our reality. That there are examples of people that have come out, but everyone has their own kind of path of what they want to experience. So this can be seen as a contrast moment. So every challenge we go through can be seen as an opportunity for growth. So it's really on your perspective. And that's why I was saying, I think the support group is pivotal. So you have someone that you can talk to, and that can give you, that can hear you, and that can guide you, and to how you're feeling. And again, it's about inner reflection as well. So there's two pathways here. So you can go down the pathway of fear, but that's going to attract more fear and more worry and anxiety. Or you can go on a different pathway, which will be releasing that fear and going in the pathway of possibilities, having again, whatever feels comfortable for you. So we're not saying to go right up from here to there, but just the next level up of whatever feels comfortable for you. So it feels kind of genuine within yourself. You may not be able to jump out of bed the next day, but maybe if you have in your mind that one day you'll be able to do that, and then just work towards that kind of goal, and that positive way of thinking. And this is where I think affirmations really help, because you're kind of retraining your mind. Your mind is very, very powerful, and we're able to really manifest our reality, but we really need to believe that we can do that. So I think if we're affirming to ourselves every day, and we're believing that we can get into a completely different situation, then it's completely possible.
Yeah, I like that you bring that kind of rewiring of our beliefs and our brains and stuff, because it is possible. It can be done. It's our brains are plastic, right? There's neuroplasticity, and then we can change the way that we do or see or who we are. It's also proven with meditation and all of that. Anita, this has been really, really wonderful and really inspiring, and also very, allowing, because anyone listening to everything that you shared with us today will have something that resonates with them, and something that they think, yes, even if I try this before, maybe I can bring it back and try it again. And I'm really happy that you brought all of this to us today. Thank you so much.
And thank you. It was wonderful to be able to talk about this, and just to raise awareness that there's so much out there, and we're just literally touching the surface. So I'd encourage people to just to just be open-minded, and just to see what's available, and just to try and see what the outcome is.
Yeah. So just before we say goodbye, people work with you. Is it only face-to-face or online as well? How are you working with people?
So I do both online and in person.
Wonderful. Yeah. So of course everyone can see all of your contact information at the on your page. So I'll just say again, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you so much.